Let's talk about communication. It's one of the most important aspects of being a financial caregiver, but it's also one of the most challenging. I mean, how many times have you said to your mom, "Hey mom, I think I need to help you out some with your money matters," only to hear, "Well honey, I'm okay, I don't need any help." Or maybe you've said to your dad, "Hey dad, I think I need some information about your finances," to hear him say, "Butt out, my finances aren't any of your business." You've got to be able to communicate effectively, though, if your parents need your help with their finances. So the question is, how do you do this? How do you get through? One of the most important things you need to remember is that you need to approach these conversations from a place of love and respect. This is a huge role reversal for your parents. They're used to being the ones who helped you, and now you're approaching them, trying to help them with their finances. So keep this in mind as you start these conversations. Be respectful. Let your parents know that you're looking out for their best interests. Don't be condescending. Don't issue ultimatums. And as you have these conversations, it's best to use I rather than you. And by that I mean you could say something like, "I'm worried that I don't have enough information about your finances if something were to happen to you. So humor me, mom and dad. I'd like to get a little bit of information from you." This is the old, "it's not you, it's me." Because once you say you to your parents, you need to do this, you should be doing this, you aren't doing things right, you're putting them on the defensive. And by letting them know that you want them to do something for you, "I would like this, I need to be able to help you," you're asking parents to do what comes naturally to them, helping out their children. Now, a couple of ways to start the conversation naturally if you haven't yet had any conversations with your parents about their finances. You could use a story. Talk about someone you know who had to get involved with their parents' finances and how having these conversations early on made it easier for them. Or maybe it's a cautionary tale about someone who didn't have any information about their parents' finances and they struggled to help them once they did have to step in and get involved. You could ask your parents for advice. This works really well if you're young because it's a natural way to have this conversation. Parents like offering their kids advice. And so if, for example, you say to your parents, "Hey, mom and dad, now that I'm married, do you think I need life insurance? Do I need a will?" Their answers are going to give you clues about what sort of financial planning they have done. And then just keep asking more questions to keep the conversation going. You could also ask about what-if scenarios. "Mom and dad, what if something were to happen to you and I needed to make sure the bills got paid? How would I do that? What would that look like?" Hopefully your parents are going to respond with something like, "That's a really great idea. I never thought of that. Here, let me give you that information so that you can help if a situation ever arises." These are 3 easy ways to start the conversation. Now, it's also important to remember that as you have these conversations, you want to remain neutral. And by that, I mean you want to keep the emotion out of these conversations because once you get emotional, you're not going to be able to speak rationally with your parents. And that's when the arguments start. So remember, approach these conversations out of love and respect. Use I rather than you. Use a story, a what-if scenario, ask for advice to start these conversations naturally. And remember to stay neutral. Keep the emotions out of these conversations so they don't get into fights.